This is a geometry video, and I'm going to focus in this video on those slightly trickier questions where we have to solve for x. Let's start with a relatively straightforward one. In this question, I can see that I have a straight line, and on one side of the dividing line here, I've got a right angle. So these two green lines are perpendicular. That means that I know that these angles over here must also add up to 90 degrees. Can you think of the name of the rule when two angles go together to make a right angle? They're called complementary angles. I can make an equation using these angles. This is called an equation because it has an equal sign. I want to figure out x, and I can do so by subtracting 50 from 90. So our result at the end of this is that x equals to 40. Here's a second example. What can I say about the angles 2x, 60 and 80? They add up to 180. Can you remember the name of this rule? Angles on a straight line that add up to 180 are called supplementary angles. Again, I'm going to make an equation. What do you think that equation would look like? So the equation looks like this, and this is just saying that these three angles add up to equal 180. Again, this is an equation because it has an equal sign. Of course, I can add 60 and 80, which brings me to 2x plus 140 equals to 180. My goal at the end of this question is to find x, but I'm going to start by getting 2x by itself. So I'm going to bring the 140 across and subtract it. And so now I know that 2x equals to 40. How could I get x by itself? Well, if two x's make 40, then I can find the value of x by dividing 40 by 2. So in this case, x is 20. I can double check to see if I'm correct pretty easily. This angle is worth 2 x's. That's 40. 40 and 60 and 80 makes 180, so I know that I'm correct. So now in this question I want to find x, and again I can see that I have three angles that add up to 180, and again these are supplementary angles. Let's have a think about how many x's we actually have in this equation. We've got 2 x's and an extra x, so how many x's is that? So 3x plus 90 equals to 180. I want to figure out x, but first I'll get 3x by itself. And so I'll bring the 90 over and take it away from 180. When I subtract, I get 90. So this means that 3 lots of x make 90. What's 1x by itself, do you think? I can get this by dividing 90 by 3, and in this case, x is 30. Again, I can double check and see if I'm correct. 2 lots of 30 is 60, plus 90 is 150, plus 30 is 180, so I'm correct. Let's have a look now at example 4. In this diagram, I've got 4 angles. If I was to add these angles all together, what do you think my total would be? These 4 angles together represent a full rotation, so they'll add up to 360. Okay, so I've got a number of terms here that have x's. So how many x's do I have? Well, I've got 5x, and another one is 6x, and 4 more is 10, and 2 more is 12 x's altogether. So 12x is 360. So what do you think 1x would be then? Well, I can work this out by saying 360 divided by 12. And so x is equal to 30 in this case. And again, I can just double check. 30. 5x's is 5 30s, that's 150. 2x's is 60. And 4x's is 120. And when I add the 4 of these together, I get 360. So my solution for x is correct. I've stuck with x all the way through these examples, but sometimes you'll see a different letter being used, maybe y or a. The procedure is the exact same. Make your equation and then solve for the unknown value.